I'm Teresa Weekly at our live desk for woodtv.com. There's a big event coming up tomorrow in Washington, D.C., and it involves a man from the Grand Rapids area who died a few years ago from complications from COVID. Dave Cook was a Kent County Sheriff's deputy, and his name will be added to the law enforcement officers memorial in Washington, D.C. Tim Lewis is a retired Kent County Sheriff's deputy. He is in Washington, D.C. right now and is joining us to talk about this memorial. Good morning, Tim. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Teresa.
So you mentioned to me as we were talking before this that you've been doing this for a long time. How many years have you gone to this ceremony in Washington, D.C.?
It's probably on and off for the last 10 to 15 years.
That can't be easy.
It's not, but it's once people come and see the event and build the relationships, they want to come back year after year.
Tell me a little bit about this event. You said last night there was a candlelight vigil.
It's a multi-day event. Last night was the candlelight vigil that took place on the mall in front of the Capitol. They added over, I believe, 280 names to the wall this year, and Dave was one of them. It's been a long time coming for Dave to get put on the wall. Uh, it's one of those things that I enjoy coming and seeing old friends and building relationships. And tomorrow is the memorial, which will be on the front lawn of the U.S. Capitol.
What does it take to add someone's name to that memorial?
It takes you got to get approval. There's a lot of paperwork that's involved, and you got to prove that the death was in the line of duty. And then the walls pretty large, and they got to bring an engraver in to engrave these names. And there's names engraved on both sides. There's an east and west side. Dave's on the east side um, of it, and they're engraved there. They're there forever, and it's an honor to actually come here and see the names on the wall and find our fallen brothers and sisters from the past.
You sent us a few photos showing Dave's name on that wall. Let's talk a little bit about him, because he died from complications from COVID, which he caught while he was working as a sheriff's deputy. Was that difficult to prove? Is that part of what took so long, because it was something like COVID?
Yeah, I mean, if you get shot in the line of duty or die in a car crash, it's easy to prove. COVID was one of the hard ones to prove that you caught COVID during your doing your job, and not just from the public. But law enforcement officers across the country were not exempt from going to work. Uh, they got up every day and had to go into work and still answer the call of the citizens that deal with uh, the day-to-day law enforcement activities. So that was an extensive investigation to prove that it was a COVID law enforcement related death.
You worked closely with Dave. What was he like?
Dave was a very easygoing, loving man. I worked with Dave for the last 5 years. He was a hard worker. He was athletic. He and his brother, who also works at the sheriff's department, were active runners. Dave loved playing Texas Hold'em with his friends, and he just he was a great guy. That was a hard loss.
Now, as you're there and you've seen his name on that memorial, what does it mean to you to have this ceremony happen? You've been there so many times before. You've lost friends and coworkers before. So when you're able to go and see their names that will forever be on this memorial, what does that mean to you?
His legacy is going to live. His family and coworkers will come back year after year, and and find his name and memorialize, his legacy as a Kent County Sheriff's officer, and it's there. It's never going to go away. Um, it's a nice thing to do. As I also shared a couple pictures that, with Trevor Slott's name and Caleb Starr, two other officers that I lost during the tenure at the sheriff's office. Um, they, we come back year after year, and it's kind of fun to walk it and see the thousands of names on the wall and try to find them in their specific location. Um, there's probably 200 to 300 names on each, if not more, on each segment.
What can everyone expect from the event that's coming up tomorrow? What will that be like? You mentioned this is a multi-day event. Tomorrow is the big ceremony. So what will that be like?
It's gonna be emotional. The families will place a rose on the wreath at the Capitol. They will be escorted up on the stage as their loved ones are names are read. Dignitaries from United States will be there. Usually, the president is there to give a speech, and they have another keynote speaker that will speak tomorrow, and just show the support of uh, of law enforcement across the country. Uh, this time of our nation, it's support that these officers need to go out every day. It's well needed. It's deserved, and without law enforcement, I don't believe we'd be able to survive.
Have you talked with Dave's family? How are they feeling about things tomorrow?
I saw Dave's brother last night. I plan on trying to spend some time with his mom and dad sometime today. But it's overwhelming because Cops uh, is a nonprofit that supports the families. They have a big gathering too for the families, and they have different seminars and classes and dinners and activities for the families to help them cope with the loss of a loved one.
Well, Tim, I appreciate you taking time to talk to us about what's happening there in DC and to honor Dave and his memory as they memorialize him at that sacred space, the Judiciary Square. It's about 3 acres of federal parkland. Have you walked around all of it? Like, it seems like it's very set apart from some of the other spaces in DC. Does it feel like a sacred space to you?
It is, and right across the street, I sent you a picture of the Law Enforcement Memorial, or the Law Enforcement Museum, which is right across the street, which is unique in its own way with the history of law enforcement. It's very neat to walk through and to see it, and they have a bell that rings in there. I believe it's every 64 hours is what it is for a law enforcement officer that dies in the line of duty. So there's a bell that goes off every 64 hours to remind us that there's been a law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty.
Well, again, thank you for the time that you've taken to talk to us today about this, and I hope everything goes well with the final ceremony that's happening tomorrow.
Thank you.
So that is the Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. There have been services yesterday, today, and then the final one will be tomorrow, adding former Kent County Sheriff's Deputy Dave Cook's name to that memorial after he died from complications of COVID, November 1st, 2021. You can read about his service online now at woodtv.com.